Resistors. Today we will discuss about the types, uses and details of resistors. Resistors are one of the most widely used components in electronic circuits. There are many different types of resistor available having different properties and used in different ways in different circuits. Got confused? Okay, let's discuss one by one. So resistors of all type are used in vast quantities in manufacturing electronic equipment. In fact, the resistor is probably the most common type of electronic component used in electrical and electronic circuits. There is a large number of different types of resistors that can be bought and used. The properties of these different resistors vary, and it helps to obtain the right type of resistor for any given design to ensure that the best performance is obtained. Although many resistors will work in a variety of applications, the type of resistors can be important in some cases. Accordingly, it is necessary to know about the different resistor types and in which applications each type of resistor can be used. First of all, what is a resistor? Resistors are used in virtually all electronic circuits and many electrical ones. Resistors, as their name indicates, resist the flow of electricity, and this function is key to the operation of most circuits. Resistance is one of the key factors used in electronic circuits, and it is the property of materials to resist the flow of electricity, and it is governed by Ohm's law. There are two main circuit symbols used for resistors. The oldest one is still widely used in North America, and it consists of that jagged line representing the wire used in a resistor. The other circuit symbol is a small rectangle, and this is often termed the international resistor symbol, and it is more widely used in Europe and Asia. The unit of resistance is the ohm, and the resistor values may be seen quoted in terms of ohm. It may be kilo ohms, mega ohms and so on. Now there are many different types of resistor. Some are for special applications like being used as a variable resistors, and others are used for surge limitation, while others provide a variable resistance with temperature. All of these characteristics can be used. However, for fixed resistors there are different characteristics that need to be taken into account. And one more thing, even though the actual resistance of the component is of paramount importance, other characteristics also need to be taken into consideration. Those other parameters, other characteristics may be power dissipation, noise, inductance, thermal stability, and a number of other characteristics. Different materials and different structure within the resistor can have a major impact. Accordingly, when selecting a resistor to be used, these characteristics must also be taken into consideration. So first we will learn about basic distinction of resistor types. Okay, the first major categories into which the different types of resistors can be fitted is into whether they are fixed or variable. Okay, so this is the most two common types of resistor. These different resistor types are used for different application. First we will see fixed resistors. Fixed resistors are by far the most widely used type of resistor. They are used in electronic circuits to set the right conditions in a circuit. Their values are determined during the design phase of the circuit, and they should never need to be changed to adjust the circuit. There are many different types of resistor which can be used in different circumstances. Let us see variable resistors. These resistors consist of a fixed resistor element and a slider which taps onto the main resistor element. This gives three connections to the component, two connected to the fixed element, and the third is the slider. In this way, the component acts as a variable potential divider. In all three connections are used. It is possible to connect to the slider and one end to provide a resistor with variable resistance. Variable resistors and potentiometers are widely used for all forms of control, everything from volume controls on radios and sliders in audio mixer to a host of areas where a variable resistance is required. Potentiometer, interestingly, is a component where there is a fixed resistor which has a slider to provide a potential division from the voltage at the top. A variable resistor is effectively the same, but with the slider linked to one end of the resistor so that it provides a true variable resistance. Now we will see fixed resistor types. Here also we have different types of fixed resistor. First we will see carbon composition. The carbon composition resistor is a type of resistor that was once very common. It was the main type of resistor, but are now seldom used because newer forms of resistor provide better performance. They are smaller and also cheaper. Carbon composition resistors are formed by mixing carbon granules with a binder which was then made into a small rod. This type of resistor was large by today's standard and suffered from a large negative temperature coefficient. The resistor also suffered from a large and erratic irreversible changes in resistance as a result of heat or age. Second is carbon film resistor. This type of resistor was introduced during the early days of transistor technology when power levels tended to be lower. The carbon film resistor is formed by cracking a hydrocarbon onto a ceramic former. The resulting deposited film had its resistance set by cutting a helix into the film. This made this resistor highly inductive and of little use for many RF applications, radio frequency applications. They exhibited a temperature coefficient of between -100 and -900 parts per million per degree Celsius. The carbon film is protected either by a conformal epoxy coating or a ceramic tube. Next is metal oxide film resistor. This type of resistor is now the most widely used form of resistor. Rather than using a carbon film, this resistor type uses a metal oxide film deposited on a ceramic rod. As with the carbon film, the resistance can be adjusted by cutting a helical groove in the film. Again, the film is protected using a conformal epoxy coating. This type of resistor has a temperature coefficient of around plus or minus 15 parts per million per degree Celsius, giving it a far superior performance to that of any carbon-based resistor. Additionally, this type of resistor can be supplied to a much closer tolerance, 5% or even 2% being standard, with even 1% versions also available. They also exhibit a much lower noise level than carbon types of resistor. However, it has mainly been superseded but the metal film resistor. Then we have metal film resistor. The metal film resistor is very similar to the metal oxide film resistor. Virtually it is very similar and the performance is also comparable. Instead of using a metal oxide film, this type of resistor uses a metal film. As the name indicates, metals may be nickel alloy, which is most commonly used. The metal film resistor is the type that is most widely used when a leaded resistor is needed. Now we will see wire wound resistor. This resistor type is generally reserved for high power applications. These resistors are made by winding wire with a higher than normal resistance, which are called resistance wire, on a former. The more expensive varieties are wound on a ceramic former and they may be covered by a various silicon enamel. This resistor type is suited to high powers and exhibits a high level of reliability at high powers, along with a comparatively low level of temperature coefficient. Although this will depend on a number of factors that includes the former, wire used, etc. As wire wound resistors are often intended for high power applications, some varieties are designed so that they can be mounted onto a heatsink to ensure that the power is dissipated into metalwork so it can be carried away. Now we will see surface mount resistor. Surface mount technology SMT is now the major format used for electronic components. They are easier to use in automated manufacturing and they are able to provide very high levels of performance. SMT resistors utilize similar technology to other forms but in a surface mount format. So these all types of resistor that we discussed now, it was like overview of how we can differentiate between resistors. Now we will see other types of resistor where we are using a resistor for other applications rather than just resisting the flow of current, or we can say practical applications. The first in our list is light dependent resistor, LDR, also known as photoresistor. Light dependent resistors or photoresistors change their resistance with the level of light. They are used in a number of sensor applications and provide a very cost-effective solution in many instances. Light-dependent resistors have a lag in the time taken to respond to light changes, but they are cheap and easy to use. Next, we will see thermistor. As the name indicates, thermistors are heat-sensitive resistors. The resistance of the thermistor varying with temperature. Some have a negative temperature coefficient, NTC thermistors, while others have a positive temperature coefficient, PTC thermistor. Third, we have varistors. Varistors are available in number of forms. Essentially, these electronic components vary their resistance with the applied voltage, and as a result, they find uses for spike and surge protection. Often they may be seen described as movistors, which is contraction of the words metal oxide varistor. Varistors are the devices that are widely used in surge or transient protected mains extension leads and used to protect computers. It should be remembered that each time the varistor receives a spike, its properties changes slightly. Parameters apart from just the resistance are important. It can be voltage withstand, power dissipation, and even the actual type of resistor itself all have an impact on the performance. So we had an overview of resistor. I hope you liked the video. Please make sure to watch our other series too. So like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.